Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure, Mr. Hyde. Now, this is a Build-A-Figure which I'm not sure a ton of people wanted. I'm genuinely curious how many of you guys are excited to own this, or wanted to own this, or don't want to own this, or just what are your thoughts on it? I'm completely ambivalent toward the thing. It's kind of like a cool character design, I guess, especially amongst all the various very comic looking characters, and this is mostly just a guy in a suit with some lamb chops. So I'm curious what you guys think about it, but regardless of that, it is kind of a cool figure. There's definitely some stuff to talk about, so let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 21.5 centimeters to the top of his head, which makes him pretty close to 8.5 inches. And before we get into the rest of the review, let's go ahead and do a question of the day. I'm guessing some of you out there do this because you're watching my channel, and my channel is called Anthony's Customs, and you might be maybe originally interested in the fact that I was posting customs. Now I'm not doing that because I'm working on my other line. But anyway, how many of you guys modify your action figures when you get them, whether it's paint or other stuff? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm asking because this guy could really benefit from some paint since he's almost entirely solid green plastic. So I'm curious if you are the type of person to maybe make some changes on your own. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic on this guy. A couple things I really like. I love the sculpt of his vest under his jacket. The wrinkles in there look great. The way they sculpted the cloth around the buttons look like it's being pulled. Even though it actually is kind of loose on the figure, it looks like it's being pulled. I do like that they painted the buttons, that they have the stitch work going all the way around the lapel and on the hem. That's very nice. The sculpting for the sleeves is good enough. I like the sculpting on the back there to make it look stretched around his back. No paint. No paint there, that's annoying. They do have the sleeves in there though, so that's good. The pants, unremarkable, not much going on. The shoes are well sculpted. I think they're shoes we've seen before. They might not be. I'm not positive. Doesn't really matter. The sculpt on the face is pretty cool. I think they did a good enough job with that. I think the paint is almost pretty cool. Like, there's a lot going on in the eyes, but the way it's done is the eyes and the teeth are separate pieces that are pushed in from behind, and the paint job's just not lined up properly. So I don't know how that happened, but you can see the red for the eyes doesn't go like to the eyelid. So it looks like he has red lines on his eyes, and that's pretty weird. And then the teeth have the gums painted across the teeth, and that looks super wrong. It's not terrible, and if you're not looking super close, you might not even notice it, but it definitely needs to be repainted to look good. It definitely looks weird the way it is, but otherwise it's not bad. Like, the sculpt is there, the paints are just pretty off. There's no paint on the hat either. There should be, I'm guessing, where that little line is, like that should be a strap or something. I don't know, I'm not a haberdasher. But yeah, it's not exactly chock full of paint. They did put some splotches on the hands to look like hair, only it's the whole hand. The whole top of the hand has the brown rather than just the hair lines. So that looks pretty off. Again, if you're not looking too close, you might not notice, but I mean, this hand looks especially bruised and messed up because of the way the brown is on there. So that's a bummer. They didn't paint the nails at all. That's a bummer. It's fairly half-assed, unfortunately, so aesthetically speaking, being just a solid chunk of green plastic with no shading, and the paint that is there is pretty sloppy, it feels very much like they didn't try that hard. So I'm going to give this guy only a very generous 7 out of 10. I do think the sculpt for the jacket is really nice, and the sculpt for the face and hands are there too. It's just really a lacking in paint sort of situation. So 7 is good enough. Alright, as far as accessories go, he has his walking stick, his cane, which is pretty good. No complaints there. It's a good size for him. I like it. That's good. And then, I'm not gonna, I'll rate a 5 out of 10. No fist hand or anything like that. I feel like almost every comic book based character should have fist hands. Almost everyone. But I don't know, maybe this guy, I'm not like super familiar with the Marvel version of Mr. Hyde, so maybe he only uses his walking stick and his open hands. I don't know. You guys can let me know. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. The head on this guy is on a double ball peg, which appears like it might have decent enough range. Let's see. Yeah, that's gonna work. He doesn't lean very well because of the hair and the beard, and the way they arranged the ball peg isn't great, but it'll probably work well enough to get him to look around. Although the collar gets in the way too. Yeah, you know, it'll be fine. It's not the best in the world, just because he's got a lot of stuff hanging down and around, but it'll be okay. That's good. For the shoulders, no, that can't be it. Okay, so the shoulders don't go out that far. I mean, for a big guy like this, that's fine, but for an action figure, you want to be able to do poses that you don't need to do, but you want to, so not being able to go horizontal, I think, is a flaw. Obviously, it's not a crucial one, but it is a thing. We do get the full rotation, of course. The jacket is soft, so that's not going to get in the way of anything. No bicep swivel up here. We have our single jointed elbow, which is just about 90 degrees. And then you do get some rotation out of that, but not a lot. So he's going to be pretty limited in his posing. For the wrists, we have a swivel and a hinge, so that'll be okay. Hopefully you can figure out some way to have him like hold another figure with this hand. They always do this pose where they have the pinky tucked in even farther than the rest of the fingers, which is a fine pose if you're just doing like a clenchy hand. But if you want him to hold something, that pinky's in the way. So if you wanted him to hold like another character by the neck or something like that, you're not going to have as much luck doing it as you might have hoped. Does he have an ab crunch? It seems like he does. Like a regular ab crunch, but there's not a whole lot you can do with it given the jacket and everything. It is in there, it technically works, but it's not going to do a whole lot. You do get a waist twist here. Legs go out to the side a decent amount. This leg doesn't want to stay on for me. Hopefully you guys don't have that same issue, but they go out enough. I don't think you're going to be needing to do any high kicks or anything with this guy. Going forward, it's very limited. Are these straight up Wilson Fisk legs? I kind of think they are, but I can't remember now and I don't have it handy to check. Not so great range going forward, none going back. You do get a thigh swivel. Single jointed knee is less than 90 degrees. That's going to be limiting, of course. You do get rotation in there if you want it, but that's not going to serve a purpose. And then for the ankles, you have just the tiniest bit of hinge and a little bit of an ankle rocker, but not much. And also, he's almost perpetually in a knock-kneed type of situation. His legs look like he's knock-kneed, or that he's doing the PP dance just a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. So the articulation on this guy is certainly not as robust as it might be. It probably won't matter too much for a character like this. I'm guessing most people are just going to pose him standing there, but it's not great. 6 out of 10 for the articulation. Final verdict on this Build-A-Figure. I'm not in love with it. I like some things about it a lot. I really like the sculpt on the clothing for the most part, and the head and the hands are sculpted well too. But that's pretty much where the quality ends. The face paint is just so bad, and the articulation doesn't really work, so final verdict on this Build-A-Figure, 6 out of 10. I don't like it. I'm scaling down because it's an action figure, and it only has some nice sculpt work. There's no paint and no real articulation, so I don't like it. You could argue a 7, but I'm sticking with 6. I don't think this is the kind of thing you're going to really want to track down and purchase unless you want it specifically for a particular reason. It's just not good enough to throw in the collection for fun, in my opinion. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think about the figure in the comment section below, and thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and you can let me know why in the comment section below for that also. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.